All right, let's wind the clock back a bit. We're going to the mid-2000s. The Indian service sector is absolutely exploding. Competition is getting intense, and every business out there is looking for an edge. We're going to dig into a really fascinating study from 2008 that shows exactly why this new idea, CRM, became the secret weapon for so many companies. So, here's the big question. When you're in a market where everybody is basically selling the same thing, how do you win? How do you actually stand out from the crowd? This was the puzzle that was keeping executives up at night. And the answer? Well, it forced a huge change in how business was done. And this strategic shift? It created an entirely new battleground. See, the game wasn't just about having the most efficient factory anymore. It was about becoming the most loved company. The entire focus had to pivot. For the longest time, the mantra was look inward. Optimize your internal stuff. Companies poured fortunes into what's called ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning, to make their own processes perfect. But as the market got more crowded, they had this massive light bulb moment. The real value wasn't inside the company. It was outside, with the customer. And that switch from looking inward to looking outward changed everything. So this new outward-looking approach, it needed a name. It needed a system. And that system was Customer Relationship Management, or CRM. But as we're about to see, this was way more than just buying some new software. It was a completely new philosophy. So what is CRM, really? If we get technical for a second, the research defines it as a strategy that brings together technology and marketing to build real, profitable long-term relationships. Now, the key part of that definition is this: placing the customer at the absolute heart of everything a company does. Its processes, its culture, the whole shebang. I love this analogy. Think of CRM as a company's brain or its memory. It's the system that keeps the business from treating you like a total stranger every time you get in touch. It remembers who you are, what you like, and it makes every single interaction feel personal. Okay, so everyone was jumping on the CRM bandwagon. But were they all doing it for the same reasons? What was just marketing hype and what was actually driving these decisions? This is where our source material gets really good. A couple of researchers, Purnima Sangala and Sanjeev Verma, decided they were going to find out what was really going on, and they were smart about it. They went straight to the source. They surveyed leaders in the industries that were all in on CRM: banking, telecom, IT. They wanted to cut through all the noise and get real, hard data on what was actually motivating these huge investments. And listen, this wasn't just some simple little poll. The researchers analyzed 30 different variables for every company. I mean, think about that. Everything from cost savings to worker productivity to brand image, dozens of things. The challenge was to take all of this messy, complicated data and find the signal in the noise to figure out what the core motivations actually were. So after they crunched all the numbers, the data started to tell a really clear story. Out of all 30 of those variables, 4 main mindsets, 4 key reasons kept popping up over and over again. These were the keys that unlocked the decision to go with CRM. Let's break them down. So the 4 big drivers they found were: number 1, going for a win-win strategy. 2, a big focus on productivity enhancement. 3, a direct goal of profit and customer service maximization. And last but not least, number 4, finding a balance in the interaction between suppliers and customers. So what does all that actually mean? Okay, the biggest driver by a long shot was what the researchers called a win-win strategy. The idea here wasn't about choosing between making the customer happy or making the company money. It was about realizing you could do both at the same time. The thinking was, hey, if we increase customer satisfaction, that will naturally lead to a better return on investment. If we make our sales service smoother, that's going to make us more efficient and cut costs. It's a beautiful cycle. The second factor was all about getting things done better on the inside. Cutting down on wasted effort. Stop having 2 people do the same job. But this is where we find something really surprising. You would think that improving brand image would be a top reason to adopt CRM, right? Well, the data said nope, not a significant driver. These companies weren't buying CRM to look good in a commercial. They were buying it for real, tangible results inside the business. Third up, we've got a direct link to the bottom line. This is all about maximizing profit and service. This is where the magic of customer data really comes into play. By using CRM to personalize the experience for each customer, companies saw that they could directly boost their profits. And by looking at all that data, they could even find opportunities to jump into brand new markets.
And the final factor shows this was a decision that affected the whole ecosystem. It wasn't just about the company and its end customer. The reputation of the company that sold them the CRM software, the supplier, that mattered a lot. And you get a little blast from the past here, too. The tech of the time, PDAs, personal digital assistants, were seen as a key tool for improving those customer interactions on the move.
So when you put it all together and look at the numbers, it becomes crystal clear. That win-win strategy is the giant slice of the pie. It accounts for almost a third of the motivation all by itself. It was the dominant philosophy. The other three factors, yeah, they were important, but they were all orbiting around that main central goal. So what's the big picture here? What can we take away from this 2008 deep dive? It's that the CRM revolution, it was never really about the technology. And this quote from the study just says it all perfectly. The CRM tool is just that, a tool. Success comes from using that tool to design the right business goals. When your tech and your strategy are perfectly aligned, that's when you see the results. More efficiency, happier customers, and better profits. At the end of the day, the strategy is what drives success. The software just helps you get there. And that leaves us with a final, big question to chew on. This study was from 2008. That was before the age of big data and AI as we know them today. Are these drivers still the same? How has AI-powered personalization totally changed the game? It really makes you wonder if that win-win strategy is now more critical and maybe even more achievable than ever before. Thanks for watching.